All right, let's jump right into this explainer. If you've ever found yourself wondering how these massive, cutting-edge concepts we always hear about actually show up in the real world, well, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're tearing into the emerging tech behind edge computing, looking at the real business cases and finding out exactly how this technology is reshaping our daily lives.
Now, before we start naming names and looking at specific industries, let's nail down exactly what we mean by Edge AI. Why is everyone so obsessed with real-time decision-making? Put simply, edge computing is a decentralized technology. It lets the Internet of Things process data right there at the source. Instead of sending all that data miles and miles away to some massive centralized cloud server, it's processed on the spot. Because honestly, when you're dealing with critical real-world infrastructure, waiting for a server to respond, that's a luxury you simply do not have. Processing at the edge brings the intelligence directly to the hardware.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with 1. The edge computing landscape. Then 2. Smart cities and autonomous vehicles. 3. Healthcare and industrial IoT. 4. Agriculture, retail, and safety. And finally, 5. Designing edge solutions.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the edge computing landscape.
This is like a cheat sheet for how Edge AI is quite literally changing the world across massive industrial sectors. Over in the automotive space, it's absolutely crucial for real-time decision-making. Then you've got healthcare, which leans heavily on it for remote patient monitoring. Manufacturing, they're optimizing with predictive maintenance so things don't break down in the first place. And smart cities are using it to instantly untangle those awful traffic jams. It is a massive, massive scope of innovation.
Moving right along to Section 2, Smart Cities and Autonomous Vehicles.
The stakes here are just unimaginably high. Think about it. When an autonomous vehicle, like the ones Tesla or NVIDIA are rolling out, is driving itself, you cannot just pause and wait for cloud data processing. It's simply not an option. The car's intelligence has to be local. It needs to spot an obstacle and react in mere milliseconds. So in this context, the edge isn't just some cool convenience feature. It is an absolute non-negotiable necessity for keeping people safe.
For those of you actually designing these systems, you really have to treat these concepts like active, on-the-ground engineering missions. When you're putting together, say, an edge-based traffic monitoring system, you aren't just sitting back and passively observing. No way! You are actively synthesizing requirements, picking the absolute best proposals, designing the tech, and rigorously analyzing everything. It has to actually survive and function in a chaotic, unpredictable city environment.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Section 3, Healthcare and Industrial IoT.
Now, there is a vital nuance between these two sectors. In the industrial IoT space, the focus is strictly on machines. It's about predictive maintenance to just keep the assembly line humming. But over in healthcare, that's a whole different ballgame. When you're designing healthcare solutions for remote monitoring and predictive maintenance, providing human-centric alternatives isn't just nice to have, it is a hard requirement. You're dealing with actual human well-being here. So your edge design must always have safe, reliable alternatives built right in. Which naturally leads us to a really fascinating question. How does Edge AI actually impact the wide-open, physical world of farming and surveillance? I mean, how do we monitor these vast outdoor spaces where the nearest reliable internet connection might be literally miles away? Well, let's find out in Section 4, Agriculture, Retail, and Safety. When you're dealing with these rugged outdoor sectors, you really have to dig deep into performance and sustainability. Take smart farming. You need to pinpoint exactly how Edge IoT tech actually advances agricultural practices on the ground. And when it comes to public safety and surveillance, well, setting up a camera just doesn't cut it anymore. You have to thoroughly analyze how IoT impacts the performance and sustainability of that edge video analytics system. Simply put, this tech has to be as tough as the environments it monitors.
All right, bringing it all together with Section 5, Designing Edge Solutions.
This step-by-step framework is a real game changer. It takes you all the way from just spotting a cool new tech advance to actively building full-blown IoT solutions. Think of it like this. First, you identify the technological advance. Second, you design a solution tailored right to that edge application. Third, you analyze its impact against strict criteria. And finally, you select the best possible proposal. It is a complete, start-to-finish engineering workflow.
But how do we bridge that gap between theory and reality? Well, to truly demonstrate these IoT and edge computing techniques, you've got to get your hands dirty. We're talking about hands-on utilization of open-source tools. You aren't just sitting around conceptualizing, you are getting in there and actually building the thing.
So I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. Looking at these self-learning case studies and seeing how incredibly fast this tech is evolving, where do you see the edge taking us next? When our cars, our hospitals, and even our farms are completely decentralized and thinking for themselves in real time, I mean, what is the next frontier? Something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep exploring.